Well, today we are going to build the plug wires for this thing. We've been planning on doing this for a little while now. The guys and gals over at Southwest Performance Parts were very nice and sent these over to us to use. Looks like a really nice set of plug wires. They do have the straight boots on the end of them, which is what was on this thing, and they are the build your own. So the ends, the HEI side of these are not terminated. And so we'll be able to build our own, get these cut to the right length, all of that good stuff. So because of that, we've got the plug wires here ready to go. These are the boots that'll go over on the distributor side of stuff. And just to kind of show off this kit a little bit, it came with the plug wires, all the boots, plus an extra. This is the coil wire boot, and then it comes with all the ends that are needed to be crimped on. But there's a couple of little things that I think are pretty neat is that it comes with, first off, these guys here, little numbered tabs that you can put on the wires themselves to help you keep straight your firing order, make sure you get this thing wired how it's supposed to be. And the other thing that's nice is it comes with 6 of these wire separators. I had never seen this in a set of plug wires before, but 2 4-wire plug separators, 2 3-wires, and 2 2-wires. So a really nice kit and universal. You can use it on anything, 6-cylinder, 8-cylinder, all of that good stuff. Dad has a set of these. These are Moroso brand ones, crimpers, and we'll use these to crimp the ends onto the wire once we get them cut to the right length, and then we can slide the boot over those as well. So all of that is a really nice set, and it's going to make a really nice clean install. You can buy the ones that are already made, but they're always like they're never like a perfect fit, right? It's like the old saying, a universal fit kit. That means it doesn't fit anything super well. Well, with these you can build them, you can get everything on how you want them, get everything cut to the right length, make sure they look really nice. And with those tabs on the valve covers that have the wire separators on them also, between that, this is about as easy, it's about as clean of an install that you can do with a set of plug wires like this. So we're going to go ahead and start getting these cut down to length and figure out which ones we need and what all we're going to do here. So one thing before we get started, Dad's going ahead and put some dielectric grease on the boots themselves so that they go onto the plugs themselves easier. Something that's a little nice to have, this little block is made to crimp. So if you don't have a set of these ratcheting crimpers like we have, this comes with it. You can put this in a vise and use the vise to crimp them, which we don't need because we have these crimpers. But the nice thing about these is you can see these 2 holes on each side of this guy. With those, that's what you use as a gauge on how much of the wire to cut off. So you get it put in place like this. You figure out this one's going to number 1 number 1 right here. So it's going to number 1 right there. And then you can kind of decide what length you need it to be, and then you can take and cut that with just some standard cutters. Go ahead and cut that. Then you can use this, and that's going to tell you how much to strip off of it. So if we take this plug wire here before we cut it, and I'm going to just run this through it real quick. What you would do, pretend that that is not sticking out there. You would run this all the way to the end, and then you can just take I just take a razor blade and put it right against that right there and spin the plug wire, and that'll cut it. And then you can take and just pull the rest of this off, and that will leave this out, which is what we need, which is also needed whenever we put the terminals on. This will get bent back, and then the terminal will get put over that so it's got really good contact, and then the terminal is crimped on. So you can see we have these kind of laid out. We plugged them in. Dad plugged them into the plugs, and then we've run them up here. We use one of the 4 wire separators that came with this kit, and then run the other one on the ones that were on the valve covers here. So we've got those routed how they kind of need to, how they're going to end up having to kind of stay once we get it gone here. And then you can see kind of the rat's nest of the wires that are run here because we haven't started shortening these yet. Just want to show you these markers again. This has helped us out. This is not a firing order that we work with really ever. So these are helping us keep track of which wire is which. On the forge, number 1's right here, and it goes in order 1 2 3 4 back to the front, 5 6 7 8. So that's kind of laid out much differently than a Chevrolet, of course. And we've talked about this before, but this distributor does rotate counterclockwise instead of clockwise, like a Chevrolet, like a small block. But so these little markers on the wires are helping us keep these straight, so that we make sure that we are attaching these in the right place. And the other thing that Dad does when we go to wire something like this, takes a silver Sharpie and he marks all the positions on the distributor cap itself. You go, man, Dad's done this for years and all this different stuff. Yeah, guess what? Stuff happens. You know what I mean? So any safeguard that you can do to kind of make this as dummy-proof, for lack of a better term, as possible, is what we try and do to make sure that whenever we go to fire this thing up, it's in the right order. We don't have anything crazy going on. This thing's jumping and going nuts because it's in the wrong firing order. So anything to do that and kind of protect as much stuff as we can and make it as simple as possible is what we try to do, and that's what we're going to do here. So now that we've got these run, we can go ahead and start deciding on the lengths and get them cut, and I'll show you guys how to properly crimp a plug wire. So when you're doing this, so basically what you're going to do is when you have the initial cut to get this to length, since you're going to have to strip this, what we do when we do this, I just take the terminal here and kind of hold it roughly where it's going to be here, then hold the wire up, and you know that the strip is going to happen right here at this crimp joint, so hold that up there, and then I'll mark this to right about the same length as the terminal right there, and that's where we'll do our initial cut, and then we can put it in our block and strip it to get that back, and then that'll expose the wire inside so that we can go ahead and get the rest of the crimp done. So this is what this block's for. So you'll take the plug wire here, run this through that, and run it to the end of this block. There's two different notches here. One's if it's the standard crimp, and then one is right here for the double crimp. And basically what that means is these right here are a standard crimp. They have this one set of crimps here. This will go onto the wire and then get crimped. There's another set they call a double crimp that has this that goes over the wire, and then there's another smaller crimp in here in the center that would actually crimps onto the wire itself, not to the outside silicone housing, and then that's what would make your connection. These are the standard ones. That wire that comes out will get wrapped around here to the bottom and then get put in place into this, and we'll show that here in just a second. So here's what I was talking about as far as how you put this crimp on. So you fold that wire over under into the crimp, so that makes solid contact with that boot, or with that terminal there. You slide that down to where there's about 1/8 of an inch of the rubber sticking up on the upper side of the terminal, and then that's where we'll bring in our crimpers and crimp that thing in place. All right. So you can see that crimpers makes a really nice solid connection on the wire itself, on the silicone wiring, and then we can slide the boot over this guy, put a little dielectric grease on it, slide the boot over it. That'll set that right in place. Perfect. Now, right there. And when you put those on, you can hear that nice solid connection. There's 1 of 8 done. Alright, took a little kind of back and forth and figuring out exactly how to route these on the cap. We've kind of got everything kind of where it's going to live. We'll put some more wire separators on these to kind of keep everything held up off the carburetor and kind of neaten it up a little. But in general, this is how these are how these go. Everything went really well. Got everything snapped in place, including the coil wire here. That snipped on, and so all that's all good. Everything lined up really well. These things made super well, and just a reminder, these are from Southwest Performance Parts. So if you need a set, just go over to there. Go to the link in our social media, and you can click on that, and you can go through that and buy it, and it'll help out the channel without you having to spend an extra penny. So appreciate you guys doing that if you do it. These plug wires are really nice.